Hey everyone, I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze this video in because my camera is down to next to nothing memory and it's telling me I only got 15 minutes. So we'll give this a shot, and if not, maybe I'll upload my other video first. I've been recording videos but never posting them, so because I wasn't quite satisfied with the quality of the video and the direction that it was going, but I also felt like I needed to record some of the stuff to show off some of the stuff that I've been getting. So we'll give it a try. So another recycling event this past Saturday. It was a 4-hour event. I think this was in a new location, but I'm not 100% sure, but the turnout was decent. We do these 4-hour events. If you don't watch any of my other previous videos, my buddy owns an electronics, or what they call an e-waste company. It's electronics recycling, and he has a warehouse where people can drop off their electronics normal business hours. He has bins in different cities, towns, townships, all over the place, that where certain things can be dropped if they fit in the chute. And then he holds these recycling events throughout the summer, typically 4-hour events on Saturdays. Sometimes they're only 3-hour events, but I help him out. I don't work for him, I work with him. In exchange, I can bring home anything that I want that's been dropped off for recycling. So this is what I got this past Saturday, and it's probably the best amount of stuff that I've gotten this year so far. I could be wrong about that. I would have to think about it more, but I think this is the best haul I've gotten out of these recycling events, at least for this year. There's been ones past years that have been really good too. So once again, 4-hour event. People drop off their electronics to be disposed of. And so the idea of the game, the way that I do it, is I just grab everything. Anything that looks interesting, I take it. I do some looking up later on when there's some downtime, but pretty much the way that what I feel about it, I'm not paying for any of it. So take anything and everything and then dig through it later. That's the way that I kind of approach these things. Now, ironically, last week, and I haven't posted that video, but maybe I will, I ended up not bringing anything back. So typically what ends up happening is once I go through everything, and if there's stuff that's broken, or it's worthless, or it's missing pieces, or it can't be parted out, or there's no value to it, then I will either throw it away, donate it to a thrift store, or I bring it back with me to the next recycling event, especially if it's something bigger and there's nothing that can be done with it other than to dispose of it. Then I'll bring it back with me to the other recycling, to the next recycling event. I normally bring back at least 1 or 2 things. This past recycling event, I brought back nothing. It all worked. It was all good. I kept all of it, and there was quite a bit. I haven't posted that video yet, but maybe I'll post it with this one since I need the room on my camera. And speaking of which, we do have GoPro ideas. I have 2. I bought one this year. I bought one last year. I still haven't trained myself or learned how to use them. The owner's on board. He's got a few. He actually showed up at one of the past events with 2 of them on his body, but he had to leave shortly after that, so I don't think he recorded much footage. But our plan is to put together a big video of just showing this whole process of these electronics recycling events. Anyways, that being said, got down to 12 minutes now to show you everything that I picked up. So first of all, I'm going back to some of my grassroots stuff, like stuff that I used to get all the time, and then I kind of quit doing it because my eyes were on the bigger stuff. And so I kind of looked over this stuff for years, but then the last couple of recycling events, I grabbed some up, and I can't believe how fast the stuff sells and how well it sells for. And that's basically music players. So whether it's an iPod, a cassette player, or a CD player, depending on the brand, depending on the condition, they sell really well. Matter of fact, I picked up 3 or 4, I think they were either Casio or forget what brand they were. Sony. Sony is a good brand for music players, especially when it comes to cassette players and CD players. And I brought home like 4 or 5 different Sony Discman or CD players. and I've almost sold out on all of them already, and that was a week ago. I have one left. But you'd be surprised the value on these things, where I'm seeing quite a bit. So this Shockwave, I believe, by Panasonic is worth about $50. Didn't look up this Aiwa cassette player. This one's interesting because it's got the external microphone, so I have a feeling that has some value. Any of your, what I call brick iPods, the thick ones, the first generation, the second generation, always do well for me. I'm going to charge this up. I'm going to test it. If it works, I'm going to put some earbuds with it, some AirPods. That's another thing I get at recycling events all the time, are unused AirPods. Because people, would get those with their iPods, or they'd get them with their phones, and they ended up not using them. They use their own headphones or whatever. So these sell really well as well. And this is something that I've gotten back to. I've always sold the iPods, but as far as cassette players and CD players, I probably hadn't picked up any of these in a couple of years, where I used to get them all the time. Anytime I saw them at a yard sale or a thrift store, I was picking them up. But I kind of got away from that. And this year, I can't tell you how many times I picked up a CD player that was worth $50 or more. Cameras is another one. As in these old point and shoot, point and click film cameras can have some good value. Even your digital ones. Some of these are worthless, and some of these have extremely high value. So like these two, I think they're worth about $20 or $30 a piece if they work. The Vivitar is worth about $10. I may or may not list that. That might go, in my pile to deal with in the winter when I need more stuff. Nikon charger, because I have two Nikon cameras. This is a Nikon, and this is a Nikon. This Nikon goes for about $40, $50. This Nikon, and I got to pull it out, probably is worth about $100, $90 to $100. And again, that's one of those that's really surprising. This Canon, I forgot, I think this is worth like $20 or $30. Texas Instruments calculators. This is a TI-83. It's not the silver, it's not the plus. So this one's about a $20 calculator. No cover, but I have, from a past recycling event, I have a leftover cover from one that didn't work that I saved for some reason, and maybe that'll fit it, maybe it won't. I'll get into the video game accessories here in a minute. These old Logitech, what they call trackball mouse with a ball in it, which is removable, I think. Maybe that one's not. These can sell for good money, like $30, $40 for the trackball mouse. So the ones with the ball that you use to move your cursor around, your pointer around on your computer, instead of moving the mouse around. It's funny because the wired ones actually sell for more money than the wireless ones. I normally don't pick up ink, but I pick up Epson ink because these normally sell fast and for decent money. But if it was an HP ink or something like that, what I call the small box ink cartridges, we get them all the time. I leave them alone. That's one of the things that I did walk away from. Plug and play games, normally I don't deal with these anymore. I used to pick these up all the time. They don't sell well for me. Sometimes I'll just lot up like 3 or 4 different ones and sell them together. And sometimes that works. I've talked about these before. These are the printer heads for the HP Office Jet Pro series, the computer series. These pop right out. The unfortunate thing about these is that you have to power on the printer in order to get them out. So if I find one that's been donated, I have to take it over to an outlet, plug it in, pull the printer head out. But I've mentioned these before. I sell these for $100 a piece. They either get the used ink for that price, or if the printer didn't have any ink in it because maybe the person pulled it out before they donated or disposed of the printer, then I have brand new black ink only that they get with one of these for the price. And basically, I basically say in my descriptions, the ink itself is no guarantee. I'm selling the printer head itself, The ink is complimentary, so there's no guarantee of how much ink you'll get out of it, and that's kind of my explanation. So that's worked well so far. Now, video game stuff. This is where the rubber hits the road. As you can see, an original Xbox, original PlayStation with a memory card. Now, no cables whatsoever. So no power cable. No, here's an AV cable. That's good for the PlayStation. This is an Xbox AV cable, which doesn't work for the. This is Xbox 360. So that doesn't work with, as far as I know. I could be wrong. Maybe it does work with that. But here's the funny thing, and this happens all the time. PlayStation, original PlayStation with a third-party controller, and Xbox, original Xbox, look at this, 6 controllers. 6 controllers, and they all have the dongle, the breakaway dongle, and here's even an extra one. So Xbox came up with this idea, which was a good idea at the time when controllers were still wired. They had this breakaway dongle. So basically the whole point was that this would, if someone would trip over the wire, this would disconnect, and it would keep from everything from crashing down, right? The problem is if you lose this, the controller is worthless. They should have made these where the adapter or the plug for your game system was also on the controller, so that if you lose this piece, you didn't have that safety there, but at least you could still use the controller. I was surprised to get 6 Xbox controllers, all with dongles, and then an extra one. And then ironically, I actually got an Xbox at a past recycling event where I had no controllers. So right now I currently have an Xbox listed. I might change that listing to add controllers because it only had one controller. I have another Xbox that isn't listed yet that I got at a past recycling event. So we'll see how this all plays out. I already have a PlayStation listed, so that'll be put aside until later. And then I got the Xbox 360s. 2 of the fats or the white versions. Now, one of these doesn't have the hard drive that detaches. It just pops right off. I have extra hard drives from 360s that didn't work, where I took off the hard drive and then did something with did something with the system itself. The Xbox Slim, power supply there. I currently have an Xbox Slim listed. I don't have any of these listed, and right now I probably have, I think, 10 total Xbox 360s that have been untested. My gaming supply right now is ridiculous. It was really low at the beginning of the summer because what ended up happening, the same thing happened last year. And then I ended up selling a bunch over the holidays. Literally like end of October is when they start selling. And then I think I recorded, I said something like I sold 10 systems between Thanksgiving and New Year's, and I sold 12 between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. Xbox 360 Connect, I've never seen the white one before. Black one's pretty common. Now, it looked like they tried selling this at a yard sale for $40. I don't know if that was for the whole system or they just had the price tag on that or whatever. And then there's an Xbox One Connect back there, which I've seen before. I've had plenty of these. Dynex keyboard. I did some research. I cannot find this model. It's brand new. It's still factory sealed. It might be one of those situations kind of like the... something like that, the trackball mouse, where there's still value to it. But we'll see. I don't know. And then lastly, I have this. This is the Xbox, for the Xbox 360, or the Xbox, because you can tell by the dongle. And this is by Bandai Namco Games, which is weird because it's the same company that makes action figures. So this is the Ace Edge and the Ace Combat 6. These go together, and right now there's only one listing, and it's for one of these parts, and they want $100 for it. So I got to do some research and see if there's any more value to this, but I'm guessing maybe $150 to $200 for this. This is pretty serious equipment. Like, this is pretty, it's got that tackiness either from long storage, but it's that rubber. Sometimes that rubber breaks down. So with some alcohol and stuff, you can get that cleaned up, but that's going to take some effort. So there you go. I had 2 boxes worth this time. I didn't talk about the microphones. I never buy these, but if they're free, I'll pick them up and they'll get thrown in a bin, but I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So that's basically everything that I picked up, and who knows if this gets posted, but thanks for watching.